Now on the North American side is going to be pretty much the opposite story of the South America. So in North America the population is still growing, but look at this growing rate. Pretty much they are sometimes all over the place, and then it just pretty much hits a huge new low, and then they kind of bounce back a bit, and then it's going to go low too. So those countries that are considered in North America, you're going to see them here, and those are population that are calculated. The last three of them are pretty much insignificant, and also Canada is pretty much 10% of the United States population, so not that much either. But this is gonna put them all together and see how they perform. Let's say in 1955, 181 million people in those areas, but now in let's go with this 2025, they are 387 million. So we're gonna see an increase, but not that much as we saw in South America. Now the early change is 0.71% from this population. Back in 1955 was 1.61 from this population. So you can see 1955 you have a net growth of the 2.8, let's say, million people in 1955, let's say, per year. I'm gonna see in some cases they're gonna go up, they're gonna stabilize it, but now it's just under 2 million net growth of the people. But let's look at migration. Even in 1955 the migration was still low, I would say. Until 1970 they pretty much stay under a million. Here is the first time they go a bit over a million, but they stay there until 1990, probably, who knows, probably because the Soviet Union collapses a few years later. But in Europe you already start to see by 1990 they starting going down, and then you see a hugely increase in North America, let's say, but mostly you're gonna see United States migrant increase entering the country. Back in 2020 you're gonna see a bit low because of the pandemic, but they're gonna bounce back. Now in 2025 1.5 million people are emigrated to United States, especially, but also in the North America, predominantly United States and Canada. Median age in 1955, 28, let's say 29 years old. So already I would say pretty old for those standards, for those 1955 standards, but most of them probably they come from the old continent, so it's similar. It's normal to see some similarities there. But by 2050 the population is gonna go in a median age around 42, 43 years old. So there is an increase, but not that much, I would say, as other countries, and especially from 2025 to 2050, in just 25 years. Probably it's gonna go a bit higher than that, because I keep telling you those numbers are not exactly the real numbers. I truly believe nobody knows exactly how many people are, and also the fertility rate. Most likely it's much lower than actually declared, or especially in the near future they're gonna go down much faster. Now I like to look, when I look at the continent, about density. So how many people were on square kilometers, and in 1955 was 3.5. Now in 2025 there are 21 people, so already see 7 times increase. Oh, so sorry, I just look at the fertility rate. No, was 10 back in 1955, and now it's 21, so twice, let's say, twice as many people now than used to be in 1955. And you're gonna add 2 more by 2050, but probably it's gonna stabilize around 22, because like I say, you're gonna see here, even here you're gonna see early changes. You already see migrants surpassing the native population, the growing net of the population. So you're gonna see, especially from here in the 2045, but probably it's gonna be much earlier than that. So probably even the United States, and especially North America, let's say, you're gonna see a down. So the population is gonna start going down, declining. I would say roughly around, again, 2040. You're gonna see some numbers. Depends a lot of the population also. That's another factor, how many they're gonna receive. But as the United States especially kind of starts to adopt that policy, even with Democrats or Republicans also, they have that, but even Democrats, they're gonna go on this policy that they're gonna limit the migrant in America, especially I would say from this everything south of the border. Probably they're gonna have a system. They're gonna receive a lot of European one, because Europeans pretty much looking for the new home. Europe is pretty much unlivable at this point, and probably in the next few years, especially when the war is gonna break out. You're gonna see a lot of Europeans just living for the United States, and probably United States being close, especially culturally, to the Europeans. They're gonna have a much easier time to accept this a new wave of migrants. So back to our chart, you're gonna see here, even in North American share world population, 1955 was 7.3. Now it's at 4.9. You're gonna go down to 4.5. So you're gonna see other continents just going much faster, but it's normal, because America, like I say, anything in the Western world that industrialize much earlier than a lot of other countries experience those things, I would say, first, and the other countries gonna follow pretty soon also. But for the Americans, like I said, they live pretty much on migration. It's pretty much a migration country, America. Like I say, even when they, like I said, the Columbus discovered it in 1492. Then they have their independence from the British in 1776, if I'm not mistaken. And you're gonna see a very young nation. They receive a lot of migrants. Pretty much the native population, I think, from what I saw from the data, they're pretty much just gonna disappear by the end of the century, which is assimilated, most likely, not just disappear, but 100% assimilated by the end of the century. So you're gonna see some things changes there too. But America, it's different, I would say. In America, usually in the other countries, it's better to live in outside the cities. In America, it's kind of depends which cities. But in America, I think those suburbs and small towns are still, let's say, livable. I don't like the housing in those towns, especially if there's some development, just build pretty much every single one of them the same to save some cost and some time. But there are also some nice few houses from around. Look at this, from especially this area, which was pretty much developed from individual, from every single one of those people pretty much built their own house and not just buy it from a developer. That's a different situation, especially here in the a bit outside of even from the small towns. They're gonna have some better life, I would say. And America has a lot of land. It's protected by 2 oceans. Their neighbors are in the north and the south. They are very weak compared with them, so you're gonna have a lot of safety, especially for Europeans, because Europeans already have 2 wars, and the third one is about to happen. So a third one, after that, it's gonna pretty much collapse the entire Europeans, and also the Europeans gonna flee to United States, and then probably the Europeans who they still left in, we're gonna replace them by Africans. And from there, who knows gonna happen. But now we're talking about North America. So yeah, for North America, the population, native population of let's say colonizer, how you want to call it, they're gonna go down, like I said, by 2040. I don't know exactly. Like I said, the problem is migration. Which type of migrants the next few administration of the White House they're gonna accept, and in which direction they want to go. Because like I say, in South America, I don't see anything improving, especially again, we're talking for this century, not for the next 400 years. And I don't see anyone pretty much so thrilled to live in those countries. And like I say, with Europeans pretty much gonna look for the new home, especially here, entire Europe. America is gonna be a good place to be if they somehow make it easier to arrive there, at least, and get some green card or whatever way or a tool they're gonna develop to just assimilate more people, especially, like I say, from Europe. And with America, like I say, America is still the best. They have a lot of problems, I'm not gonna say it's perfect, but still in the Western world and entire world, it is still the best country to live. And with that huge migration, especially from Europe, probably especially Europeans are still doing well in healthcare industry. Anything else is pretty much on the ground. they're gonna have some improvements even here. I mean, I think they're gonna be after the World War III, and especially after whatever happened in Europe. Americans gonna have again one of those migrants wave from the Europe that's gonna change it fundamentally once again and gonna improve it. But from the rest of the world, from the what's gonna be left from the old continent, I think, who knows, maybe it might be the last century from the European continent that we actually know. But for the North American, things are looking still good. Like I said, it depends which migrants they accept to take. Those median age probably is gonna still climbing because Europeans are still already old, and the fertility rate is still gonna go down for this century. But overall, like I say, America, it's a big country. They can take a lot of people. They certainly can take Europeans. Who's gonna be left after the war, and also who's gonna stay there, whatever they're gonna do. But for this century, for the Europe, it's pretty much like I say, I think, especially as you know it, pretty much the last one. But for the North American, who knows, maybe it's gonna be a new beginning. But yeah, if you're living outside the the United States, you pretty much, especially if you live in those two continents, even if North America and the South America, you're gonna look to the United States to emigrate. But they're gonna see how actually they're gonna welcome those migrants from south of the border, because I think they're gonna be very different treated from let's say European ones. Someone who just arrived on the foot against someone who arrived on the plane is gonna be some difference there too.